We are in the fifth chapter, that is Sanyas Yoga. Sanyas means uh, when all your ignorance is destroyed. When you have been able to destroy all your ignorance, that is called sannyas. So this yoga, this chapter that uh, we are uh, we are studying, this chapter will enable us to destroy our ignorance and get established into the state of samadhi, through which we will come to know about ourselves. We will have this realization of self knowledge, and that is the goal of our life. So this is called sannyas yoga. So we have started this one. Uh, we have started this one in the last Monday. So we came up to the seventh verse. So let us just revise the seventh verse so that we can go forward. So what was the seventh verse? It was Yoga Yukto Vishuddhatma Vijitatma Jitendriya Sarva Bhutatma Bhutatma Kurvannapi Nalipyate. So he said a person who is always established in yoga. Yoga means the state of in the state when you are one with God. You are united with God. You are completely dissolved in God. When there is no difference between you and God, that state is called yoga. When you are that Brahman yourself, when we say I am Brahman, still there are two persons. There's me and there's Brahman. Still we say this in the plane of duality. There is no non-duality. Because when I will be Brahman, there will be no one to say this, that I am Brahman. When I am saying this, that I am Brahman, that means I am not Brahman. I have realized it, but now at this point I am not that. I have come down from that, and I have come into the realms of this of this events of this duality. So when I am one with the self, when I am one with consciousness, when I am one with the reality, when I am one with truth or the self, that is called the state of yoga. So he says that a person who is in the state of yoga, what happens? Yoga yukto vishuddhatma. He becomes completely pure. Now here yoga, it has got two meaning. One is yoga means the state of samadhi, the state of unification with God. And yoga at some place also means karma yoga. So a person who is in the process of karma yoga, who is endeavoring karma yoga, that person also is becoming vishuddhatma. That is the way by which he can become pure. He can purify himself. He can become pure means our mind. Our mind is a mixture of matter and consciousness. So when it is a mixture, it is not pure. If it is a matter or it is consciousness, in both cases it might be pure, because it will be one element. When there is a mixture, you lose purity. So vishuddhatma means you become pure, means all the matter within you. Matter means anything which is not you is matter. Anything which is not consciousness, anything which is not the self is matter. Anything which is outside of you, anything which is yours, anything which is yours, anything which is not yours, these are all matter. The only thing that is consciousness is you. Now when you say this is my body, So it's your body. So this body also is matter. It's not consciousness. It's separate from you. So it's matter. This is my mind. So when I say it is my mind, that means this mind is not, you know, this mind is not me. So when this is not me, then it is a matter. So mind also is matter. Then my intellect, my ego, my house, my car, everything is mine. So everything which is mine is matter. So we are always dealing with matter. So when I am, when I am clean, when I am pure, that means all the matter which are present within me, they disappear. They leave me. So when the matter leaves me, what happens? I am the conscious self. I am in the super conscious state. I am that conscious self. So that is what it's saying, that if you are attached with yoga, in one case when you are established into the self, or if you are if you are attached with, or if you are undergoing karma yoga, then these matter that is present within you, they disappear and they leave you pure as consciousness. So yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma. Vijitatma means you will be having complete control over your mind. Now, why does a mind, why cannot I gain control over my mind? Because the mind is always attracted towards matter. The mind is always attracted towards matter. The mind is always attracted towards the outer nature. And because it's always attracted towards those, so it's beyond my control. It's beyond my control. It's always outside. But when the matter ceases, when there is no matter at all, when the matter ceases, what happens? The mind is consciousness. So that is the time when it is under my control. So when I am in the state of yoga, or when I am in the process of doing karma yoga, then I have complete control over my mind also. My mind is also completely under my control. Then yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya, and all my senses are in control. All my senses are also in my control. These are the these are the different dimensions. These are the different parameters which creates problem for us, which creates suffering for us. Our mind, our senses, because they are not in our control. They always produce sufferings for us. But it says, if you are in the state of yoga, then all these senses and the mind are all pure. They are all under control, and you have completely annihilated them. They are all always under. You're the master of those. So to become the master of the mind, to become the master of your senses, the only way is to remain in the state of yoga. Yoga yukto vishuddhatma vijitatma jitendriya. Then what it says? Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. When you are in the state of yoga, you see that you are the soul of everything. There's only one soul, there's only one self, there's only one consciousness. It's not that everybody has got different consciousness, everybody has got different soul. It's not like that. The soul, the consciousness, the self is one. So when I discover that self within me, when I discover myself, then I see that I am the self of everybody. Nobody is separate from me. Nobody is different from me. They may be separated from me, in terms of name and form. Their name and form might be different, but but the self is the same. It's like, it's like the waves in the sea. When I see the sea, I see different kind of waves. Some waves are very big, some waves are very small. So when I see those waves, I see that they are different waves. They are different from the sea. But these waves are but water. The water particles, or the water, the water, when they are in the state of extreme motion, they create wave. And when they are in the state of rest, that is called deep sea. So the substance or the existence of waves and the deep sea are the same. It is water, though it appears to be different. In the same way, this world appears to be different. Everything is different from other. Everything is different from other. There's a variety. There's a variety of appearance. There's a variety of nature. But the self of all these varieties are one. It's not two. And a person who has attained the state of self-realization, a person who has attained the state of yoga, he can see it clearly that he is the self of everything. He is the self of all. Sarva bhutatma bhutatma. Kurban napi na lipyate. For this person who sees himself in everything, for this person, even though he is, is performing any action, he will not be binded by those actions. He will always be free. So these actions will have no impact on this person. Every action that we do, they create an impact on us. They affect us in some way or the other. And that determines our destiny. That determines our life. That determines our quality of life. How we will be. Either we will be good or bad. Depends upon the karma that we do. But here, a person who is in the state of yoga, though he does these karmas, it does not affect him. It does not, it does not make any impact on his well-being, on his tranquility. So this is what we had discussed in our earlier, Monday. So today we go to the next one. What does it say? Now it talks about, though a yogi does everything like a very simple person. Whenever we talk about yogi, we think that they are some extraordinary person. They live in a different way. The lifestyle is different. It's not like that. It's the same as ours. They do the same thing as we do. The only thing is that of perception. They perceive the world in a different way. We perceive the world in a different way, and that makes the difference. Though they do everything, they perceive, because they have this perception that the world is false, the body is false, the mind is false, the intellect or the ego is false, because they have this perception, though they do everything, they will not be binded by any of their actions, because they have this firm conviction. Because they have this firm conviction within them that everything is false. Everything is false. And because they have this firm conviction that everything is false, though they do things, though they do all the karmas, they never get attached to anything. But because we have this conviction, because we have this idea that everything that we look around is true, everything is truth, we have a purpose of life, this is our home, the place that we come here, this world, this is our home. We need to achieve something. We are very firm on this. If we have this very firm conviction that this is the only place where we belong, And this is the only truth that is. There's no other truth beyond this. If we have this perception, then every work of us will always bind us into this realm of duality. And we will never be able to experience the tranquility that we have within. We'll never be able to explore and realize the light, the knowledge that we have within. We will always be confused, we'll always be distracted, we'll always be blinded by the scene that we see in front of us. And they will keep affecting us. And that will only take us from one life to the other life. In this way, we will be always engaged into the process of transmigration. That's all. We'll come and we'll go, we'll come again and we'll go, but it will never serve the purpose. The purpose of life is to know the reality. What is the reality of life? What is the reality of this world? What is the reality of this body? What is the reality of who is residing inside the body? These are the questions that we need to answer. These are the questions that we need to explore. But these are the questions that we always ignore. We don't find any value about these questions. Whatever is in front of us, that is true, and people are running and we are also running. We are also in the race. Everybody is in the race. So everybody is running, trying to grab things, trying to grab whatever they have, they can. And in this process, one day they leave this world. Nobody knows about them. Nobody knows about them. Again they come back. Again they start this rat race, and this follows till the time when they ask themselves, what is the purpose of this rat race? Why do I come to this world? Just to run in this way? Is it the only purpose, or there is something else? Or is it the only world? Is this world a reality, or there is a different reality also, which I do not know? So when till the time this question comes, he has to come again and again. He has to get binded by his karmas, his actions, and the results of this action, and the doer of this action. So this is a cycle. The actions, the doer of the actions, and the results of the action. This cycle leads him to another cycle that is called birth and death. Birth, death, rebirth, and re-death. And this is how it goes on. So we have to break this. And to break this, we need to attain the state of yoga. So Krishna now explains, what happens to a person who is in the state of yoga. Does it do anything or it doesn't do anything? He says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manneta tad vida. A person who has known the reality, does not do anything, though he does everything that a common man does. Still he does not do anything. Why? Because though he does everything, he does not get attached to those. And because he does not get attached to those, he have not, performed those actions. And because he have not performed those actions, he is not entitled to suffer or to enjoy the fruits of those actions. The reality is, we suffer more than we enjoy. There is enjoyment, there is happiness, but the portion of unhappiness, sadness, melancholy, sufferings is more. And that we accept as life. But we don't question, is this life, or there is something that we are missing? There's something that we have not known. There's something, probably something which we don't know. We don't question about this. So we need to question that. So it says, Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manneta tadvida. A person who is the seer of the self, who has realized the self, he does not do, even if he does everything. So what are the things that he does, that he does not do, or that he does not get attached to? He says, Pashyan. He sees, but he does not see. He sees everything. He is a observer. He is a keen observer. Though he is a keen observer, the observation does not affect him. The scene does not affect him. Whatever he has observed does not affect him at all, does not create any ripples within his mind. He is always tranquil, he is always peaceful. So, Pashyan, Shrinvan, he hears. Whatever we hear, he also hears. But because he is always attached to the self, he is always in the self, those words does not have any effect on him. Those words does not have any effect on him. If we hear something, instantly we have reactions. Instantly we have reactions. We get distracted. We got distracted. We become angry, very annoyed, or maybe we become very happy. But because words makes us happy, it doesn't mean that every word is going to make us happy. Now we are happy. Maybe after some time we hear something which kills all the happiness, and we become very annoyed. So we cannot, believe on what we listen. So we should always try to, try to find out a mechanism by which I can hear everything, I can see everything, but they are not going to affect me, because the negative effects are more than the positive effects. The negative effect of this duality is more than what the positive effect is. So we maybe for 90% of our time we dwell within negativity. Just 10% is positivity. If we can develop one technique by which if we can develop a technique by which we are not affected by anything, so we'll see this positivity increases up to 100%, because there is no negativity at all, because negativity does not affect me. So when negativity does not affect me, I'm always positive, I'm always happy, I'm always tranquil, I'm always blissful. So that happiness is called bliss. That is not happiness at all. That is not happiness. That is called bliss. So we become blissful. So Pashyan, Shrinvan, then Pashyan, Shrinvan, Sparshan, Sparshan, Shrinvan, Jigran. Jigran means to breathe. They breathe also. Pashyan, Shrinvan, Jigran, Ashnan. Ashnan is eating. They eat. Ashnan, Gachan. That is the go. Swapan, they dream. Swasha and Swashan, they breathe. So they do everything that we do, but they don't get attached to them. Pralapan, they talk. They talk. Visrijan, they excrete. They go to urinate. They go to the toilet also. So they shed all the waste material from their body. They also do the same thing. Visrijan, Grinhan, accept. They accept everything. And Grinhan, Unmishan, Nimishan, Napi. They close their eyes and they open their eyes. So their lifestyle is the same as our lifestyle. There's no difference. There's no difference. Whatever we do, they also do the same thing. But our life becomes hell. Their life does not become hell. Why? Their life becomes very, blissful. They always stay very calm and quiet, tranquil. But we become very distracted, unhappy. Why is this? Because these things that has been said here are the same thing that we do, and these are the things that makes us very, very unhappy, very, very angry, very, very depressed. So, what is the difference? The difference is in the state of being. They are always in the state of themselves. They are always in the state of their own being, and they know that this is what they are. But we try to remain in the world. We try to remain within the world because we think that this world is us. We try to remain united with the mind because we think that this mind is us. The intellect, the ego. We don't try to, we don't try to give up our ego. We try to hold our ego, our intellect, our mind as much as possible because we think that this is all true, and that makes this difference. That makes this difference. So, in case of, so if you really want to attain happiness, the only thing that you have to do is you have to get rid of yourself from the mind, from the intellect, from the ego, from this world. And how to get rid of them? The only way is to say, to know that you are the self. You are the self. You are not this body. You are not this mind or the intellect or the ego. So when you remind yourself all the time that you are the self, you are not the mind or ego, then the truth of this mind, the reality of this mind, the reality of this world, they vanishes. The idea of reality. We have the idea of reality. The idea of reality vanishes. So when the idea of reality vanishes, that's it. That's it. We become, established in reality. So this is the thing. Naiva kinchit karomiti yukta manneta tadvida pashyan srinvan sparshan jigran ashnan gachan swapan swashan pralapan visrijan unmishan nimishan napi indriyani indriyartheshu vartanta iti dharayan. So how does this people work? If how does this people work? How does these people work? How do they do everything and not get attached to everything? Because they have this firm conviction that it is only the senses or the mind which works. It is only the nature which works. I don't have anything to do. We have 5 senses: eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. So these 5 senses has 5 objects. The object of eye is form. The object of ears is sound. The object of nose is smell. The object of tongue is taste. And the object of skin is touch. So they know that these 5 senses, they work with these 5 objects, and thus they create work, thus they create actions. I am not responsible in creating actions, and because I do not create actions, I do not perform any actions also. The only person who performs action is the senses and its objects. They do everything that I consider myself to be doing. This is a false notion that I am a doer. We are ignorant, and that is why we think that we are the doer, but it is the senses and its objects which works within themselves, and and they produce work, and the only person who performs these actions is also the body or the mind. I am not involved in them because I am none of these. So when you will have this firm conviction that I am the self, I am the soul, I am the consciousness, I am the light which enlightens everything. When you will have this very firm conviction, that is the time when no work can bind you. You will be free. You will be free. Here, whatever it says, that a person who has experienced reality, who has seen the reality, this person is a liberated person. He is a liberated soul. He is not binded. He is not affected by anything. Nothing. He does not have to prove anything to anybody. He is a free man. He is a liberated man. So this is what it says. Now let's go to the next one. It says, Brahmanna dharaya karmani sangam taktva karotiya. 1. A person who works, who performs actions only to realize the self, because he is very aware about the goal of his life. The goal of his life is not to earn money. The goal of his life is not to gather worldly pleasure, to gather worldly treasure, prosperity. The goal of all our lives is to attain the knowledge of the self, to realize who I am, to know who I am. So, Krishna is not saying that you need to stop doing karmas. You need to stop doing actions, or you need to do certain kind of action. Krishna is not saying this. Krishna is saying that you need to always perform every action only to know the self. The intention behind your action should be to realize the self, not to enjoy this world. If you go to enjoy this world, you are going to face the burn. You're going to be burned out. But if you do every action, knowing that, or having this, having this aim within you, that through these actions, I am going to realize myself, then only they will take you towards the self. And then what happens? Brahmanna dharaya karmani sangam taktva karotiya lipyate na sapapena padma patra ibhambasaha. Well, this person never gets associated to any sin, any weakness, any fear, any sin. Is always sinless, stainless. Because he does everything to know the self. And that is why he have not acquired any sin, he have not acquired any stains. So, lipyadena nasapapena padma patram ibambasa. In the same way, when you see the lotus, the lotus leaves, the leaves of the lotus, they remain within within this, the water. The leaves of the lotus flower, they remain in the water, but though they stay in the water, they don't get stained with the water. They don't get stained, they don't get wet. Though they are in the water, they are always free from the effects of water. This is the essence of spirituality. Spirituality will never tell you to get rid of everything. This is our conception, that if we are following the path of spirituality, then we need to have, we need to get rid of everything, all worldly pleasure. We need to get rid of everything and go and stay in the Himalayas or in some ashrams. It's not like that. It's not like that. Spirituality means, the place where you are. You need to transform yourself. You need to transform your ideas. You need to transform your convictions. You need to transform your attitude towards life in such a way that that environment in which you are, that environment becomes conducive for knowing who you are and why you are here, knowing the purpose of your life. The whole the whole atmosphere will be conducive to you only if you change your own attitude. So when we work for our pleasure, the pleasure of the body, the pleasure of our mind. It says that you need to work with the intention that each and every work is going to help me in the path of spirituality, is going to help me in my pursuit to self realization. And if you have always if you have this always in your mind, then you will see that you are enjoying more. You are enjoying more because the suffering part is gone. When we enjoy, we suffer also. When we laugh, we have to cry. When we have happiness, we have sorrow. But if we are performing actions only for the sake of realizing the truth, for the sake of realizing who I am, if that is the purpose of my life, then I will see each and every part of my life becomes very, very blissful, very, very happy, very, very pleasurable. This is a very simple fact which we are not aware of. Spirituality does not say that you need to sacrifice. Spirituality says you need to enjoy. You need to enjoy all the time. You need to have life. You need to have spirit. You need to enjoy. You need to be happy. But how to be happy? It teaches us how to be happy while we are doing each and every job, each and every actions that we need to do. And this is what Krishna is saying. He says that the only path towards happiness is when you perform every action knowing that each and every action, knowing that the purpose of all these actions is to realize yourself. If you perform your actions in this way, these actions will lead you towards liberation, towards self-knowledge, towards happiness. Okay? Then it says, Kayena manasa buddha kevalairendrayairapi yogina karma kurvanti sangang tyaktva atma shuddhaye. He says the yogis also does the same thing. What I am saying, the yogis also does the same thing. They kayena manasa buddha, they do their actions with their body, with their mind, with their intellect, and with the senses. They let their body work, they let their mind work, they let their senses work, but they themselves remains unattached from them. They don't get attached to the body. Spirituality is not restraining from work. Spirituality is all about restraining yourself from getting attached to your mind and your body, because that is the main thing. That is the main bondage. So the point, so the point from where you can restrain yourself from getting attached to your mind and body and the intellect and the ego, that is freedom. The day you see that you are there, you are existing, as well as the body and mind, everything is existing, but you don't have any connection with them at all. The body is working, the mind is working, the intellect is working, the ego is working, the world is working, but you are there watching everything. You are a mere observer. You don't have any connection with them at all. When you come to this point, then you see that you are a yogi also. The yogi always works in this way. He does not stop work. He does not he does not go, he does not just rest. He does not ignore any action. He does each and every action, because actions are the way towards self-realization. Then it says, Yukta karma phalang taktva shantimapnoti neshtikam. The only way by which you can attain eternal peace is by getting unattached from the results of your action. And how it is possible to get rid of the results of your action? The only way is when you are completely aware of this fact that you are you are not the doer. When you are completely aware about this fact that you are not the doer, you will never be attached to the results of the actions also. And if you are not, if you are not attached to the results of your actions, then that is the way by which you are going to attain supreme peace. Supreme peace. Yukta karma phalam taktva shantimapnoti neshtikam ayukta kam karena phale sakto nibaddhate. And if you are, if you are somehow, if you are attached to the, if you are attached to the results of your action, then that is the only source of all kinds of bondage, and that bondage will lead you towards sufferings, towards unhappiness. Okay, so today we stop here. If you have any question, you can ask. Thank you very much.
Anyone have any questions? Leslie, thanks for that question.
Thank you.
Question.